Hi guys, welcome back to Irish Footy Vlogs. Welcome back to Rate the Transfer Rumour video. It's back, Daz, and you're back.
Yes, it's been a very quick season, I have to say, and it's been a really good season in League of Ireland. It's been very competitive, and hopefully Rovers will do us a favour and clinch us Europe.
I could just see it now. Could you imagine Shamrock Rovers, Daz, just gone, do you know what? Nah.
Yeah, no, yeah. Hopefully not, but
Don't
yeah.
want to do the double.
Oh
Lift that.
God.
That would
Oh
stoke the
God, yeah.
rivalry even further, wouldn't it?
Ah, God Almighty, yeah. Ah,
Anyway, in case you're new to this, Daz is here to rate these transfer rumours. He hasn't a clue what I'm throwing out at him. He's going to give it a rating between 1 and 10, 10 being fairly sure, let's say, and 1 being no hope, essentially, Daz. So a few interesting ones here. As far as I can see as well, all these players are actually, that I have here, are out of contract. So this is going to be interesting.
very
And
good.
just before we get into the first one, I just got to point out that monstrosity of a jersey you're wearing. I mean,
No,
what's
no,
that?
no, 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 no. I won't
What do you call
obviously the
that?
winner.
Wibbly wobbly wonder?
No, it's actually a fruit salad. Do you remember them? Like the blackjacks. I actually, do you know what? I
They're
actually
nice,
like it.
actually. The fruit
When I was
salads. Can
buying
you
that,
see
I was
about
kind
them?
of like, But no, I really like it. It's different. It's quite different. Bit clashy, but
Yeah, it reminds me of those. You ever see the GAA half and half jerseys? Like it's
no,
something. It just
yeah,
looks like that, and it just
something
yeah.
like that.
I don't
Because
like
the
them.
orange and the pink, it's a very big.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, first transfer. We're going to start off with Bowes, Daz, and we're going to start off with literally a big man who's at Galway United. His contract's up at the end of the season. Can you guess who the player is?
I'm going to say Slevin.
No, Patrick Hickey.
Patrick Hickey. Yes,
Patrick Hickey to Bowes.
I
What are you
was thinking
thinking
one of
there?
them. Look, I suppose with Patrick Hickey, that one's been doing the rumor mill for the past year, I think. Bo's been linked to him throughout the last year. I would definitely think there's something there, and he definitely would add to the team. And let's face it, Bo's have no full packs at the minute. They need another striker. They need someone in nearly every position. So
McLaughlin, do you hear me? Hickey's a weird one. I'm just giving away the next one. Hickey's a weird one because he can play in a number of positions. I think he started off at Athlone at pretty much centre back. He's played midfield, but at Galway he's been pretty much either a striker or just off the striker. Now, what he could give Bowes is someone that, certain games where he might come under pressure against teams that are playing a low block. He's a big lad. He's well able to get his head in the ball, arguably go long, but certainly get
yeah, he
crosses
could.
into the box, because at the moment I don't think Whelan or DJ are the type that they're not lads who are going to tack crosses into the box. They're different type of players, so it just gives them a potential different option, and obviously it'd be a big loss to Galway if it was to happen as well.
Yeah, of course. Like, and sure, I think Galway pretty much should be the most or one of the most direct teams in the country. Really, it's just how they play. And look, throughout the season, they got results playing that way. Obviously, when Holly Horgan, REP, was there with them, when he left, he kind of went down hill and off for Galway. But yeah, like he really suited Galway's game plan. They used to just get it up to him. He'd get a flick on, a knock on, or he'd get a goal from it. But if the game is going that way, and it is long balls, or it's a windy day or something like that, it's brilliant to have something like that come on. An old fashioned centre forward. You never see it. It doesn't happen in the modern game. Everyone wants to go tick attack, everyone wants to play it short. But I think long ball is coming back. Long throws are coming back. They are so back. But he'd be someone I think would really add to Bowes, and it's a realistic transfer. I think it would be a step up for him. Bowes potentially could have Europe, and if we do get Europe, I really think our chances of signing the players are a lot higher. Like, do you want to stay in a mid-table team, or do you want to go and play in Europe? You want to play in Europe, and I think he would play with Bowes, and that's pending. Who's to say other players in Bowes won't leave? Just because the obvious choices are there, doesn't mean that others won't want to leave either. But I think I'd rate this one quite high on the basis of it's been doing the rounds for like a year now, and it's just something completely different. I really like having a mix of players, someone who's totally different to someone on the bench to come on. So you're not doing a like for like all the time. It can change the game,
Yeah.
and it's the more sensible option. So I'm actually going to put this at an 8. I think that will happen. I think it's quite reasonable. I think the funds are there, and I think he would move the balls. And yeah, I think it's quite likely to happen this year. So especially with him being out of contract, everyone and this one is out of contract, like you said, but if he was in contract, I'd be going a lot lower. But if he's out of contract, I think he'll go worse. And let's face it, for the rest of the Dublin teams, he's probably going to get the most game time with balls.
Yeah. Patrick Hickey
Arguably.
to Ball says, Daz, that's 8 out of 10. Next one, which I kind of gave away there a second ago in many ways. Evan McLaughlin, back to Derry City. He's from Derry. He was at Derry City before. He's had an excellent season, actually, at Cork City. One of the real bright sparks of Cork City. A number of goals, creative. He's done really, really well down there. But you just wonder. Now, I've heard a few things that Derry City are under a little bit of pressure to get in a few more local players. Like, it's always a thing with Derry City. Can we get in local players as well? Which is fair enough, but you have to have players that are good enough, don't you, as well? But McLaughlin is certainly a local player. And as I said, he's had a really, really good season at Cork City. How would you see that one?
Yeah, I think firstly, if you've had a really good season in a team that's been relegated, you are a good player. You've stood out, and that's no disrespect to Cork City. Obviously, they finished rock bottom, terrible run of form. If you were shining in that team, I think you deserve to be a higher placed team. With Derry, it is quite true what you said, and I actually never thought of it till now that they kind of do want more local boys because in the previous windows they've brought in players from all over the place, from Scotland, England, and throughout the country. Like they brought in loads and they invested heavily, and obviously it kind of went quite well for them. Obviously went in a bad spell, but it did go good for them. And I think Evan would bring something to the team, and it's the fact that the link is there kind of puts it a bit higher.
And
But
again, out of
it's a
contract, just to throw that in
yeah,
as well.
it's a long move for him from Cork back to Derry, but the fact that he's actually a local boy, you're moving back home, so that kind of puts it a bit higher for me, I think. Are Derry going to go for him or not? That was actually quite hard to know. Uh, that's actually quite. I wasn't really expecting that one now because it's true what you said about the points. That he's a local lad. Derry want more local boys. Cork's been relegated. He's out of contract. Will he play every game though? That's hard to know.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't.
that is a fair question.
I
But
don't
then
think he
again,
will.
I suppose you can't guarantee a lot of players at Derry City that are going to play every game. Even Adam O'Reilly's had spells out of the team. Excuse me, this season, and various other players. But you're right. He's done very well at Cork City. He's obviously a better player than he was when he left Derry City. But you're right, it's a very competitive squad now. But
It's a very competitive squad, and yes, Derry have Europe. Yes, they do, and yes, he's moving back home. But from playing every game and being the main man to maybe not coming off the bench even some days, it's quite a hard one for a decision for
but
him
then
to
on the
make in
other
his
side, I look
career.
at it this way, Daz, just from a life scenario from his point of view, let's say, just say Derry do go for him, and his point of view is that he'd be moving back to Derry, so it's local. He's probably spending more money down in Cork, basically. It's away from home as well, and I'd imagine his wages would be better at Derry City as well.
Yeah,
So
there
it'd
would
be
be.
very
I, I,
hard
I
to
think.
turn down that. And as a player, you probably have to back yourself that you're going to get in the team, don't you?
Oh, you do. You have to have the attitude that you're the main man. Like you can play every game. You can play anywhere. You have to have that mentality. And if you don't, you're at the wrong club. Every player should be fighting for the first team places and shouldn't be happy to be on the bench unless you're still goalkeeper, I think. But I think if it's to finish up on that one, I do think he'll have offers throughout the league.
Mm.
Like I think most teams would take him. Maybe not start him, or other teams probably would start him. If he went to say, I don't know, Galway, he would probably start, especially if Patrick Hickey goes. But that doesn't really suit their game then either, do you know
No,
what I mean?
no,
So that
no.
one probably is a
His
bad
game.
example.
Yeah.
But like his game is more technical obviously than Hickey, but it's a good one. I'm going to put it at a 6. I do think there's something there. I just think he's going to go. I think he'll want to go somewhere where he'll play. That's just what I think. So if he does go there, all the best to him. And I think Derry would be delighted to have him there. But I think he'll go somewhere that he'll be guaranteed game time. That's not to say he won't be at Derry, but it's a hard one. But then again, look, Derry have European football. It's actually a hard one. I'm going to put it as a 6.
6 out of 10, Evan McLaughlin to Derry City from Cork City. Next up, and we've had this player up a few times, and he was very heavily linked to Bows before, but Anto Breslin to Drogheda United. Now, the strange thing about this one is when you look back at the season for Breslin, like he's had a couple of injuries, but he's also lost his place at pass to Jay McLaughlin, for example, who isn't the left back. That's very telling for me, first of all.
Mhm.
He's been back the last few weeks and hasn't even featured as a sub. We played in the Leinster Senior Cup match, but that doesn't count really, does it? But
Oh.
He's clearly surplus to requirements at Pats. And the other issue here is he's the only player in the list that isn't out of contract, and I believe his contract is till 2027. Yeah, so that would mean there's 2 years left in this deal. He definitely has at least one, for sure. So that leaves it a bit convoluted in that sense. I'm not sure I'd see Drogheda paying out a 2-year deal to get Anto Breslin, first of all. Second of all, how much compensation would he be worth for Pats to actually let him go? But I just get this sense that there could be a package to let him go more so, and then Drogheda nip in and get him potentially. But it's probably the messier potentially if the other deals I've mentioned. But and I'm going to mention it in a minute. Drogheda have Connor Kane, but they may be looking for another left back. This is the point as well. I'll get onto that in a second. But how are you seeing this one?
I think firstly, just about the situation in general. As a manager of a team, you don't want unhappy players in your squad. It's not good, and it puts a bad vibe around the place. And a lot of things is managing people's personalities. Some people cope not playing better than others. It's like anything. It's like a workplace. You can't really have negativity going on. Like, it's just not good for people in
It's
general.
the same thing. Yeah, exactly same thing.
Brings morale down. You just don't need that. And I do think Anto 100% needs to move away from Pats. He's out of favour, like you said. Someone who's not even a left back has took his spot. Like, and as you said, as telling, that means he's not playing. He hasn't got a shoe in at the team. And
it reminds me a little bit of the way Jordan Flores nips in at left back in the last few years of Bowes. Like, if you're a left back and Flores is ahead of you, you're not trusted.
That's it. But Flores also played centre back ahead of centre backs that we had at the team, and they're on the bench. So I was thinking the exact same thing. And then you have to roll on the clock a few months later. All them lads left Bowes like clockwork, gone. I remember that window 6 or 7 left, and for sure, Anto Breslin is on the move, and I do think he's going to want to go somewhere where he's going to play. There's no point in him moving somewhere after being out of favour and just not playing again. He has to go somewhere where he'll play. I think geographically speaking, with Drogheda, it's not too far away from Dublin, where I think he lives. So in that respect, it's realistic. I do think Drogheda is popular with players in the league because of the fan base and how close the fans are with the players. I could picture that as a player and like the team cohesion. You just know it's there, and the manager there has done an excellent job of making that Drogheda team really competitive. The one thing I do like about Anto as a player is he is really he's got a good work rate, and he's kind of that player to give you a 6 out of 10 every week. Like, he'll always try, and I think that's the type of player Drogheda goes for. They kind of go for that over individuals. Obviously, that kind of comes down to money then as well. They couldn't really afford, say, the last 3 or 4 years to bring in individual players and have a luxury player. They never did, and I don't think they ever will. But then again, this just brings us back to the situation of the contract. Will Pats want to help a potential rival in the team, in the league? Because Pats obviously don't have Europe, and Drogheda obviously are right next to them in the league table. So will they want to help a rival? That's very hard to know, but you don't want to have a player in your team that's unhappy. But what I can see happening is Drogheda potentially pay Pats out his contract, the remaining amount maybe, whichever it might be, or even 2/3 of it maybe, and bring him in. I don't see him going for free. And then just to finish up in relation of him actually going to Drogheda, obviously there's an awful lot of red tape attached to this one because of the contract situation. I'm actually going to put it high, and I'll tell you why. If you look at Luke Dennison, who's now been rated the best and voted the best goalkeeper in the year, he went from being number 3 at Bowes to being a star player at Drogheda. No one's seen that happen in the league. I didn't see it happening. No one's seen it happening. I thought he
tend to do that with players, don't they? For some reason,
yeah,
like get the best out of players that maybe have struggled elsewhere. And
like he was number 3 at Bowes. Like, he couldn't even get the side. Now look how that worked out for him. And I think Anto will look at that and go, "This could be something I could do." So I'm going to put it high. I'm going to put it a 7 out of 10. Like, Pats are going to want to get rid of him. Let's be honest. They're going to want to just get him off the books. He's not playing. He's taking up a wage. Stephen Kenny has a lot of work to do in that team, and he doesn't want unhappy heads shaping the team on him. So 7 out of 10. I think he'd be a solid sign for Drogheda, and I would also take him back at Bowes.
Interesting. He could go to Bowes, yes. You never know. Anto Breslin to Drogheda 7 out of 10 says Daz. Now the reason why I was talking about Connor Kane, and this is where it's in relation to it in many ways. Connor Kane to St. Patrick's Athletic does is one. Now, Connor Kane's out of contract. That's the difference there. So you never know. There could be, if Connor Kane, say, agreed to go to Pats, for example, and Pats wanted him, there could be something there with the Breslin Drogheda thing. You know what I mean, as well. It's just how it works sometimes. But Connor Kane, I think, is a really good player. But my issue with Connor Kane is, and I'm sure you won't mind me saying this, I think he's far better as a wing back than he is a full back. It suits his game a lot more. Pats don't play that system though. So whereas I think Connor Kane's a really good player, you know, often a lot of Pats signings, they do sign good players, but unlike Drogheda, they don't seem to fit what they're trying to do a lot of the time. Do you know that kind of Barry Bagley, an example, really good player at Waterford. He's had some good games for Pats this year, but he's struggled also on the Pats team at times because, in my opinion, there's no legs around him in the middle of the park. You know what I mean? So, without getting too much into it, you'd wonder sometimes what the recruitment process is at St. Patrick's Athletic. For me, the manager doesn't always make the signings. Yes, they sign off on them and stuff like that, but they're not making all the signings. And it just seems there's a ladder there at Pats that seems like it's not very aligned, put it that way. And for me, Kane to Pats would be odd because of the way Pats tried to play. If Pats played a wing-back system, I think it'd be an excellent sign. But how are you seeing that one?
I don't think there's any chance this one. I think first of all I think he loves the club. I think he loves Drogheda, and I don't think he will leave them.
He does, yeah.
I think the only way he would leave Drogheda to go to Pats is if Pats pay him substantially more money. And even at that, he's probably not guaranteed to start there. Just what you said, like they don't play that way. Like the first thing Stephen Kenny did when he took over Pats was he signed 2 new wingers. He brought in El Brizetti, I think it was, or somebody else on the wings, and then the full.
No, El Brizetti was the one, but Mulroney was there and decided
for
2 months.
Yeah, brought in for 2 months. But like Kenny loves his wingers. And I don't see Kenny changing how he plays.
No,
he's not going to change it. And
no.
I think the conversation would be different if Pat's had Europe. You'd be saying there's more of a chance. He's European football. What player in the league doesn't want to play in Europe, really? And if you have Europe, it's a really good way of trying to convince players to come in. Even if you're not going to start, you're going to want to be a part of a team that's in Europe. Like we've got 2 teams in Europe right now. It probably won't happen again for a long time, but you definitely want a chance to play in Europe. And he's going to start every week at Drogheda. He's really there. He's at the wing. The fans love him at the club. I think Drogheda are on the up. I think they're going to be even better next season if they can keep that core group of players together and add to it. They've got a shoe in for Europe, I would think, next season again. They're so hard to play against, and I suppose being a Bows fan, I'd know that. Like the best, I'm pretty sure, was 3 to 4 times this year. Last night was just a scapegoat. Obviously, we got to 4 goals, which they got a red card and everything. But I don't think there's anything in this. I don't think he will move. I think if he was to go, he'll go somewhere maybe like Bows that used fullbacks. So but then again, like I know Moorhen kind of cuts in. That's probably a bad example again, but I don't think. Then again, the Bows might go that way. We don't have a fullback.
It's strange. So you do get some fullbacks like that these days, where I think are far better as wing backs than our fullbacks, or the other way round. They're far better fullbacks than wing. It's a completely different role.
It's completely different.
Understand at times. It really is. Being higher up the pitch and positionally different and having to, not only that, you have to have as a wing back, like you have to have the engine as well, but not only
he's
that,
up and down in that wing.
As a wing back, you usually have a bit of protection from the centre back on that side, whereas you're a bit more isolated defensively. Let's say as a full back, there's a lot of different factors there, and I honestly believe that he's an absolutely fantastic wing back, and that's drop the play, but Bows don't play like that. Pats don't play like that, for example.
No, so I don't think he will go to them teams for a reason. Now, at the end of the day, I don't think Kenny's going to turn around and change how Pats play. He's definitely not. It's not a chance of it.
For sure.
He just doesn't suit it. And if he goes into that team and he struggles to play it, he'll be out of the team and he won't be playing. He went from playing every week and being loved to being forgotten about. So I don't think there's anything in it. I think it'll be 3 out of 10. He might get a contract put in his face, but I think he'll turn it down.
3 out of 10 put in his face. 3 out of 10 got against St. Patrick's Day. Now, finally, because usually when we're doing these, I don't have much news on the same Pat side, but strangely I do. And the
Oh,
last one is actually Sado Diallo of Derry City, midfield player, 26-year-old, out of contract again, linked with a move to Pats. Weirdly, this season, he seems to have a spell in the team and out of the team, like Adam O'Reilly. And he's done well generally when he's been in the team. Maybe he's not happy with being rotated. He
yeah.
probably is a little bit more athletic than what Pats have in midfield, and you'd argue that's something Pats need. That said, weirdly, I don't think Derry fans, and Derry fans can let me know in the comments, by the way, I don't think they'd be too fussed if he was leaving the club either. But, you know, yeah, what do you think of this one? Sado Diallo, centre midfielder, St. Patrick's Athletic.
Well, I think if Diallo goes, it opens the door for Evan, so he could push his right and back up. But I think he'd be a great signing for Pats. I
Mm,
actually think he'd be a great signing for anyone in the league.
mm.
He's a creative spark. He's good at going forward. He's good at playing forward passes. He makes runs through the midfield. I think he's a technical player as well.
But he has
But
got that bit of athleticism, hasn't he? The Pats lack badly, as I said before, in the middle of the park.
yeah, yeah, like Pats do. Like I think Pats one of their problems is that everyone in midfield is nearly like for like at times. And
Mm.
I think that kind of lets the games run by Pats a little bit. So I think it's an area Stephen Kenny is certainly going to try and improve on this season. He has to bring some change up somewhere, like because where Pats finished was a
That
disgrace.
actually has been a problem, Daz, the midfield scenario in relation to that since Adam O'Reilly left the club, to be honest with you. They haven't brought in anyone
No,
who can forage or maybe a bit of. I'm not saying Diallo's that player necessarily, but someone who's agile. Like if you're playing a midfield of Lennon, Forrester, and say Bagley, right? There's no legs there. Like Lennon is an anchor man for me. He's a pure anchor man, but wouldn't have the mobility. And that's fine if you've got mobility around you, but they all suffer the same problem. Barry Bagley suffers the same problem of not having
they're all
mobility
like for
around him.
like.
Chris Forrester's 33 in December. They're different type of players, but they just have no. None of them are mobile. Chris Forrester's 33 in December.
That's
You know,
mad.
so, you know what
Wow.
I mean? They can get overrun there, I think. And I think that's one of the big things they need to be able to do is get players in that are a little bit more, can close down spaces and get around the park a little bit more, that kind of way. And they just
Oh, to
don't have
do.
anyone like that.
Yeah, to do for sure. They need to bring somebody in, and I think
Mm.
as well as that, it's important bringing in players. I think if you can, who's played in the league, who you know what they can add to the league, and if you know,
If you
their
can.
game.
Yeah.
It's a gamble sometimes bringing in foreign bodies, and it can
Mm.
work out brilliantly. I
Yeah.
got badly proven wrong by that a so-called Galway player there during the season. Remember, yeah, I did. But look, that's the look at the draw. But
But as well as
I
that,
think.
from your own personal point of view, when signings are made from abroad, it's very difficult to judge them because you haven't really seen them play.
Well, you can't. Like, sure, we brought in Keita from the MLS that time with Bowes. I was like,
Yeah.
yes, he's gonna be class. Wasn't couldn't kick out of his way. But yeah, I think he is a player for me who might be on the move. Um, he never really has had a starting berth with Derry. He just hasn't really worked his way into the team and
Spells
stayed
more
there.
so.
He's had
Spells. He
spells,
might be in
two
for
and
three
three
months and out with
games.
3 months.
Yeah, like it's a tough one. It's actually a hard one. It's actually hard to put a number on it. Does he want to give up European football? It's a long move away from Derry as well. We don't know how happy he is at the club.
Mm.
But then again, he could be on the move. He could be told, "Look, you need to move on." We don't have
Renewing a
yet. But
contract.
yeah, like it's a tough one. I'm going to put it as a 5 out of 10. I think it's very 50-50. That
Mm.
one's actually quite hard to put a number on. But the only thing we do know for sure is Pats do need to bring in an attacking midfielder, someone who's going forward with the ball, who's a complete opposite to them players we named. Because I've seen it with Bowles over the years as well. Like for like players don't win games. You need to have change. You need to have difference in the team. I think anyway.
Well, that's why, without going too much on a tangent here, but because we finish up soon as well, but that's why Kerr McInroy is very good for Shells because he can get around the pitch. He's good, he's good at everything in small doses, which makes him a good midfielder. Do you know what I mean? He can tackle, he
Yeah.
can cover, he can get forward. He's got a bit of enthusiasm about him. I feel. I think Adam McDonald is a bit underrated at the Bows midfield because I think they need legs. He gives them legs in there. Do you know what I mean? So I think he's underrated in that regard. I think teams need that in their team. Pats simply do not have that in their team. They don't. So, maybe Diallo's the one. What did you say, 5 out of 10, was it?
5 out of 10 is very 50-50, but I think he'd be a good signing for Pats.
Right, so Daz says Adam Diallo. Who's he play for? Does he play for Man United, does he? Is that chap, is it? Sadio
Probably, yeah.
Diallo, anyway.
We don't know the
Derry,
Premier League stuff.
Derry City too. He's not going to Pats anyway. Derry City to Pats 5 out of 10. Brilliant stuff, Dad's fantastic. And guys, let us know what you think in the comments. Give us a few ratings out of 10. Would you be happy to see these players leave your club or even join your club? Like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Thank you, Daz.